There was a day I stood in front of my mother, and she looked at me the way you look at someone you have seen before, but can't quite place. Not a stranger, not quite her son either, just familiar. She didn't say, Daddy, as she always called me. She didn't say, my son. She just looked at me as someone she seemed to know, but couldn't quite remember how she knew me. And I wouldn't pretend that doesn't hurt. It does. But we didn't arrive at that moment in one day. Dementia happened gradually. And if you're watching someone you love change because of dementia, you may be asking yourself, what stage are we in? What might happen next? And how should our family respond? In this video, I want to walk with you through 3 broad stages of dementia: the early stage, the middle stage, and the later stage. But please understand something before we begin. These stages are not a strict timetable. They are not a countdown. Every person's journey is different. Your mother may show some things from one stage and other things from another. So think of these stages simply as a map, something to help your family understand what may be happening and how you can respond. Let me take you back to the beginning of that journey with my mother, Cecilia. Stage 1, they may know something is changing. In the early stage, the person may still be doing many things for themselves. They may still dress themselves, they may still go to church, they may still visit friends, they may still carry on conversations. They may be able to move around, in familiar places. So when you look from the outside, life may still look fairly normal. But gradually, some things become more difficult. I remember my mother sometimes knowing exactly what she wanted to say, but struggling to find a word. Mama would begin a sentence, then she would pause, and the word simply wouldn't come. But what I want to focus on here is not another list of early warning signs. It's something families sometimes forget. Your loved one may also know that something is happening to them. You see, Mama has always been a very clean woman, very particular about herself. She took pride in being able to care for herself. I remember one time she had an accident and soiled herself. She was deeply embarrassed. I don't remember her exact words, so I don't want to put words into her mouth. But what she said conveyed something like, "Is this what I have become?" And that stayed with me. Because when someone we love develops dementia, we often talk about what we are losing. My mother doesn't call me anymore. My father keeps repeating himself. She doesn't remember things. He isn't the same. And those losses are real, don't get me wrong. But sometimes we forget to ask, what is this like for them? What does it feel like to have dementia? Imagine knowing that you used to do something easily and now you can't. Imagine knowing the word you want to say, but you cannot find it. Imagine realizing that people are beginning to help you with things you have done for yourself your entire life. You see, there can be embarrassment, there can be frustration, there can be fear, and there can be grief. The person with dementia may also be grieving. So during this stage, don't make that embarrassment worse. If there is an accident, help quietly, protect their privacy and dignity. If they forget something, don't turn it into a family joke. And please don't discuss them in front of them as though they are no longer in the room. If they haven't received a proper medical evaluation, this is also the time to seek one. And while they can still participate in decisions, let them participate. Ask what they want. Listen to their wishes. Begin talking as a family about what may be needed in the future. Who will help with care? Who will help with medications or finances if that becomes necessary? What happens if living alone is no longer safe? You see, these conversations can be uncomfortable, but planning early does not mean you have given up on your loved one. Sometimes planning is an act of love. Then, as dementia progresses, something begins to change. The question is no longer simply, is Mama forgetting things? The question becomes, is Mama still safe doing this by herself? And that brings us to the middle stage. Stage 2, they begin to need more of you. In the middle stage, the person may begin needing more help and supervision. And families sometimes notice that dementia is affecting more than memory. We saw this with my mother. Her sleep changed. There were periods when she could stay awake for hours, talking almost continuously. And there were times when she heard and responded to things the rest of us could not hear. Mama loves children. She enjoys having them around her. Their laughter, their energy, their company. But during one of her episodes, Mama was responding to things the children around her could not hear. So the children became frightened. They went home and told their parents that Mama was seeing demons. Now, I don't blame those children. They were kids. They didn't understand what was happening. They were trying to explain something frightening in the only way they knew how. And unfortunately, some of the parents became frightened too. So some stopped allowing their children to come around my mother. Think about that. Mama was already losing things because of dementia. And now misunderstanding was taking away something else she loved, the companionship of those children. Sometimes the illness takes something from the person, and misunderstanding takes something else. What Mama was experiencing is what doctors call a hallucination. A person may hear or see something that the people around them do not hear or see. And to the person experiencing it, it can feel completely real. This can happen with some forms of dementia. So if something like this happens to your mother or father, please don't ridicule them. Don't immediately conclude that they are possessed. Don't automatically assume that someone has bewitched them or spiritually attacked the family. And don't assume that they are deliberately trying to cause trouble. Something may be happening in the brain that is changing how they experience the world around them. At the same time, please don't assume that every new behavior is just dementia. If confusion or hallucinations appear suddenly, if they suddenly become much worse, or if the person seems very distressed, please seek medical help. Sometimes another medical problem can cause a sudden change, and the person needs to be evaluated. There is something else families learn during this stage. Arguing often stops helping. Some of you have seen the video of my mother around 3 o'clock in the morning saying she wanted to go home, even though she was already home. I won't retell that whole story here, but I want you to remember what my sister did. She didn't argue with Mama. She walked with her. She stayed close. She kept her safe, and that taught me something. Sometimes caring for someone with dementia becomes less about correcting every word and more about understanding the feeling underneath the words. If your mother says, "I want to go home," your first reaction may be, "Mama, you are home." But sometimes a better question is, what does Mama need right now? Is she frightened? Is she confused? Is she looking for someone? Is she looking for something familiar? Maybe what she needs to hear is simply, Mama, you are safe. I'm here with you. As dementia progresses, sometimes reassurance becomes more important than correction, and safety becomes more important too. There may come a time when your loved one can no longer safely do everything they once did alone. And I know that can be difficult for families. You don't want to take away their independence, but remember, protecting someone is not the same as taking away their dignity. And please, protect the caregiver too. I live here in the United States. My siblings are closer to my mother in Nigeria. They see and carry parts of this journey that I sometimes only hear about from a distance. And one thing this experience has taught me is dementia care should not be a one-person job. If there are people who can help, let them help. Because eventually dementia may ask even more of the family. And it may change not only what your loved one can do, but how you connect with them. Stage 3, presence becomes the language. There came a time when Mama could no longer bathe herself. Something she had done independently all her life now required another person's help. And I want to say something very clearly here. If my mother can no longer bathe herself, that does not make her a child. She is still an adult woman. She still has a history. She still has preferences. She still deserves privacy. She still deserves respect. So when you are helping your mother bathe, when you are helping your father dress, when you are helping someone use the bathroom or eat, talk to them. Explain what you are doing. Protect their privacy and dignity. Give them whatever choices they can still make. Dependence should never take away personhood. Recognition may also change. Earlier in my mother's journey, she might look at someone and say, I know you. She knew the face was familiar. She knew this person belonged somewhere in her life, but she couldn't remember the name. With time, even that changed. There are moments now when Mama may recognize that I am familiar, but not know exactly who I am to her. And when that happens, we have to resist the temptation to test her. Mama, who am I? Don't you remember me? What's my name? Please, try not to do that repeatedly. Imagine looking at a face you know should mean something to you, but you cannot find the answer. Instead, give them the answer. Hi, Mama. It's me. It's Father, your son. I'm happy to see you. Don't make them take an examination they may no longer be able to pass. And this brings me back to the moment I shared with you at the beginning. There was a day Mama looked at me, and I could tell that something about me was familiar, safe, and known, but she couldn't place me. Not, this is Father, not, this is my daddy, not, this is my youngest child, just familiar. And as her son, the youngest for that matter, that hurts. But dementia has also taught me something about love. I don't need my mother to remember that I am her son for me to remember that she is my mother. And here is something beautiful that I did not expect to learn on this journey. You see, memory is not the only doorway into a person. There are days Mama struggles with names. There are things she no longer remembers. But plays some of the old Igbo songs she has known for many years. And sometimes something happens. Mama sings, she claps, she moves with the music. Sometimes we begin familiar prayers, and the words still come. And I think, there you are, Mama, there you are. Names may become difficult, words may become difficult, recent memories may disappear, but sometimes music still reaches them, prayer still reaches them, a familiar voice still reaches them, a gentle touch may still reach them, your presence may still reach them. Memory may close one door, but it does not close every door. And sometimes when words and memories become difficult, presence becomes the language. So if you are trying to understand where your family is in this journey, please don't think of these stages as a countdown. Think of them as a map. When your loved one still recognizes that something is changing, protect their dignity and help them prepare. When they begin needing more of you, stay close, adapt, and keep them safe. And when memory and recognition begin to fade, don't assume that connection has disappeared. Notice her when she notices herself. Stay close when she needs more of you. And when memory fades, let your presence become the language she still understands. Dementia may change what your mother remembers. It may change what your father can do. It may change how they communicate. It may even change whether they recognize your face. But it does not change who they are. And it does not change their dignity. My mother may not always remember that I am her son, but I remember that she is my mother. And that is enough for me to keep loving the woman who is still there. If you are walking this journey with someone you love, tell me in the comments, where is your family in this journey right now? And what has been the hardest part for you? Follow our journey. Together, let us bring hope and dignity to dementia care.